and welcome back to another video feature of the Immersive World's Handbook. Today I am looking at an aspect of Phantasialand, which is a theme park I had a chance to visit in 2018. I actually have the map here that I was just reviewing, and specifically in this video we'll be looking at one attraction, which I think is a very interesting attraction, Das verrückte Hotel Tartüff. And this is in the Berlin themeland. And I thought we'd take a look at this because when I visited Phantasialand as part of a theme park conference I was attending, I noted that quite a few of the attractions at Phantasialand really had a different focus, a different appeal, a different approach. There are traditional rides like some of the big roller coasters that they have, but many of the attractions, particularly the dark rides, and in this case it's a funhouse type ride, they had an entirely different focus and were in some ways surprising to me because of how they just really didn't fit my expectation of a theme park ride. So this a particular ride, if you call it a ride, again it's in the Berlin themeland. It's essentially what you could call what is called a fun house. These are classic rides, if you will. I mean, it's hard to some respect to call them rides. They're almost like interior playgrounds. But if you go back to Coney Island, there were many famous funhouse type rides there. Steeplechase Park, of course, was very famous for creating funhouse type attractions over the years, well past the heyday of the early 1900s. And I think Steeplechase was effective because they realized that, and this was part of the work of impresario George Tillieu, they emphasized and understood that the guests could be part of the fun. And looking at this attraction, this funhouse of sorts in the Berlin themeland at Phantasialand, in a sense I was teleported back to some of my memories of seeing images and early footage of some of the fun houses in Coney Island parks. Also made me think a little bit of the Noah's Ark attraction, which used to be kind of a big deal in the U.S. Now I believe there's only one Noah's Ark left in existence. There was one I had a chance to visit at Blackpool Pleasure Beach years ago in the UK. So for me, looking at this ride today, I want to sort of suggest that it's an opportunity to think outside the box in terms of our typical expectations of rides. So let me shift now. I'll show you some of the video I shot on site, and we can take a look at this interesting attraction here at Phantasialand in just outside of Bonn, Germany. Okay, as we begin the tour of this ride, Das verrückte Hotel Tartüff, it is located in the Berlin themeland of Phantasialand, which is a theme park outside of Bonn and Cologne, Germany. And you can see the location of the ride on the map here. And I should say that I was visiting Phantasialand as part of a two-year project on theme parks sponsored by the German government. And I'm actually working on this with a group of scholars, many of whom are from Germany, and you can see us at the beginning of our day at Phantasialand doing what we call a creative research, which is going on certain attractions, looking at them together, taking some notes, commenting on them, in my case taking some video and audio and still photography all the while. So you may see some of them from time to time on the ride here at Phantasialand. But focusing on the ride, Das verrückte Hotel Tartüff, it's a funhouse type ride, and as we go through the ride, I will talk about 7 features that I think make it unique for rides these days. The first of these is that it's untimed, and in today's world of theme parks, a lot of rides are either continuous movers or they start and stop and have a certain amount of time, and every guest experiences it in the same amount of time. As you can see from the website of Phantasialand here, it's a slow attraction, and so you can move through it at your own pace, you can enjoy it, and you have that sense that you're really not restrained, as is typical in a lot of theme park rides where you feel like you're just part of one of many other guests there and you're not an individual. So you have this, I believe, sense of freedom that accompanies the untimed nature of it. And as you're looking at the walls here, just check out some of the designs. Check out some of the aesthetics behind this. Just really fun stuff. I mean, combination of different technologies and material culture and material design and artistry and so forth, and just a really fun experience if you get to go through a fun house like this. It's a type of ride I think that's been lost. It's part of a maybe carnival tradition or old World's Fair tradition that is lost in today's theme and amusement parks. The next thing I would point to here as a feature is it's a combination of the old and the new. You can see a lot of the technologies here. It could be blowholes, reminds us maybe of some of the stuff we saw at Steeplechase Park back in the day. So the new and the old technology, combination of video screens and moving platforms, very primitive devices that you'd see maybe even in some playgrounds, and the fact that they use a variety of different devices, the eclecticism of the design makes the ride really, I think, exciting. The next feature is it's corporeal, so that means it's bodily. It focuses on your body. Your body is moving through the ride, and you have a real sensibility as you move through it that you're in control and you're actually physically, tactily touching things. The tactile sense, I think, is truly lost in a lot of theme park rides today. Next is it's a social ride, and by this we mean just like Steeplechase Park of old, as I mentioned in my introduction. You're partaking in this with a group. It could be family members, could be a loved one. In our case, it's colleagues from a theme park seminar, and as you can see, people are having fun. This is not the type of ride where people are bored or they're frowning the whole time. In fact, they're quite happy and enjoying the fact that they're participating in something that's very social. The next feature is people related to last are the stage of this ride, and this takes us back to Coney Island, to Steeplechase Park. The fact that George Chiliu and others saw it as a possibility to involve others in the actual attraction, such that people watched people. People essentially became the stage of the attraction. Just look at this technology here. Just what a really cool approach to material culture design. So I think you're getting a sense of just how they combine a lot of these different elements in one attraction in this funhouse to make something that is really entirely unique and doesn't feel anything like your traditional rides that you see in typical theme parks. This feature here is this ladder, moving ladder, and the camera's kind of shaky, so I'll throw this still shot in of actually an escape room in South Lake Tahoe, California, because I wanted to ask you a question as to whether or not you think the escape room ride, if you will, or the escape room feature, which has become so popular in the States and parts of Asia and Europe, whether or not that is the latest evolution perhaps in the theme park attraction, because certainly we talked in the last two characteristics here at the Funhouse how this is a social ride and it also is something that puts you on stage, and certainly escape rooms have that same approach. So if you're curious about this and you want to comment on the YouTube comments below this video, that would certainly be cool, because I'm always interested in your perceptions about rides, and in this case I think we can talk about maybe the evolution of rides in a new direction. I want to suggest here, and this is a cool maze that combines mirrors and also some video screens, and I want to suggest here the next feature actually, because what I like about this particular ride or attraction is the fact that it's not based on Harry Potter or Star Wars or Avatar. So many theme park rides these days that we see in the big players, Universal, Disney, Six Flags, rely on IP, and IP of course is intellectual property. So if you read Harry Potter books, you get to go to the wizarding world of Harry Potter at Universal theme parks and experience the magic in the immersive sense of being part of that world. Now, I'm certainly not saying that that's not cool and exciting and innovative. It's all that, certainly. But the other side of it is, I feel like experiencing a ride like this, it's entirely different. There's something unique about it. There's something charming. It seems maybe more authentic to me. And I have to say that a lot of the rides I experienced at Phantasialand, they weren't the highest tech rides, but in some respects they seemed more authentic or interesting or wholesome or new or nostalgic than some of the rides I see at the big parks. And I think what happens at big theme parks is everything is either an IP moment, so it's part of some video game world, Marvel, DC, it's part of the comic book world, it's part of the movie world with Avatar, as we're talking about with Disney, and of course now Star Wars. And that's fine, but again, that really confines, I think, what theme parks appear to be doing, right? Because the entire theme lands are based on intellectual property. They have intellectual property at Phantasialand, but a lot of it is homegrown, and I think that makes for a more interesting and what I would say is an authentic experience. And the other issue I have with most theme parks and their attractions and rides is, it's some moment of virtual reality. You strap on the Oculus glasses, you get on the roller coaster, and that's what you're experiencing. And I just wish we saw more stuff like this. Very primitive, but fun, right? You stomp on the piano keyboard and it plays a sound. So those are, I guess, reflections for me when I think about some of these issues. Now, it's a bit of a surprise here that I didn't notice at first, and basically there's a woman to the left, and I'll freeze the frame here, but what happens very quickly is she sprays you with a spray bottle. So again, another example of a primitive technology, but a very fun one, and one that doesn't take a lot of work, right? I mean, that's as simple as it gets, but ultimately effective in a lot of ways. So, I think as we've looked at Das verrückte Hotel Tartüff here at Phantasialand, outside of Cologne, outside of Bonn, Germany, it gives us an opportunity to think about some new directions forward. Look up to the ceiling, you see this material culture display here. It's just an upside down room, again, not real expensive, but very different, aesthetic, and creative. So what I'm trying to suggest to you today in this overview is that we don't always have to look to the greatest forms of technology, virtual reality, IP, immersive world design to create a fun attraction for families and for guests in theme parks or amusement parks. And so I hope that you'll use this as an opportunity to really rethink, particularly if you're in the world of ride design or thinking about doing work in the worlds of theme or amusement parks, to think about some new directions for it. I mean, how often would you design this particular feature, a rolling walkway, in a theme park ride? You might say never, and I'm suggesting to you maybe you need to think about it. Maybe there's an opportunity to learn something from this innovative attraction here at Phantasialand in Germany. So I hope you enjoyed the video feature today looking at Das verrückte Hotel Tartüff here at the Berlin Themeland at Phantasialand. For me, it's a very innovative ride, attraction, and one that I hadn't really experienced before in the past. So it's always an opportunity when we experience something like this to create a video of it and to analyze it a little bit and share it with all of you on YouTube. So thanks for watching, and please come back for additional video features of the Immersive World's Handbook.